Knowing that there's a limit to your patience and your energy, you need to have two kinds of plans. One for doing something when you realize that you've reached the edge and that you simply need relief quickly. So you call a friend, you call a member of family, you call a neighbor who's able to come quickly, someone you trust who understands you and can look after your baby properly in the meantime. If you know yourself well enough and you accept that you will have limited energy and limited patience, as you're feeling yourself losing your energy and your tolerance, then you place your baby safely in bed, you close the door, and you walk away and look after you for a while.
If you feel you can't cope with the crying much longer, ask someone you trust to look after your baby until you can. If you can't find someone you trust right away, put the baby safely in bed, close the door, and walk away for a while.
When I feel like I can't stand it anymore or I'm losing my patience, I take a break. I take 10 minutes to myself to collect my thoughts and maybe phone somebody, and I feel much better.
It is frustrating. I have to admit on one occasion that I threw the car seat, not with him in it, I better say, but that was the one thing, that was the only time I knew that I was in trouble. I was just so upset. It just went, this was one day, I mean, he literally was crazy from 8 a.m. till 10 p.m. And it went on, and I threw this car seat across the room, and I went, oh, okay, it's time to call somebody. So I have a neighbor who lives downstairs who's a niece, and I called her and said, I need help. And I was in tears, and she just said, I'll be right there. And she took him away for 2 hours.
For a long period of time, I spent 2 hours awake in the middle of the night also because I couldn't go back to sleep, because I was too tired and because I knew he would wake up. And one time he woke up and he was wearing a blue baby bag where he had arms in it and his feet were in a zip-up bag. And I can remember picking him up by the baby bag right about here. And I can remember the thought going through my mind, if I just swung him from side to side in the crib, I would bonk his head on either side of the crib, and that would probably shut him up for a little while, or at least relieve some of my stress. At which point I put him back in the bed, and I went back into my bedroom, and I said, Andrew, you better get up, or something serious is going to happen. And he promptly got up and dealt with Duncan.
If you are asked to look after a crying baby for a while, please help out as quickly as possible.
These parents knew they were in danger of harming their babies. They knew at the time they should not be taking care of their babies and called for help.
I get a lot of family support. Like, I get breaks. They say they take the baby for an hour or even an evening or so, just so I can collect my nerves again, which is very helpful.
Getting help is okay. It doesn't mean you're a bad parent or that you don't love your baby.
Okay. If she starts to fuss, she's getting tired, so just put her down in her crib.
It does mean that you're wise enough to know that you're reaching your limit. If you do leave your baby in someone else's care, be it your partner, a babysitter, a grandparent, make sure you know and they know their limits, and that they understand how dangerous it is to shake a baby.
Oh, that's great. Thanks very much. I appreciate the break.
My boyfriend is a good father. He plays with my son, changes him, bathes him, everything. Except when times come when he starts to cry and he can't handle it. Well, first he'll try and calm him down himself. If he can't handle it, he'll give him to me, because he doesn't want to hurt him or do anything bad to him.
I told my sister that if she was getting frustrated and felt like she wanted to shake the baby or anything like that, just put the baby down and go have time to yourself for a few minutes. And when you're calmed down, go and pick up the baby.
The best backup plan for a caregiver is the same backup plan as for parents in the first place. Caregivers need to know that they have permission to call for help if your baby is frustrating them in the same way that your baby has frustrated you. Babies should never be left with anyone who has violent reactions.
Males more often injure babies by shaking than do females. Fathers and boyfriends more often than mothers. Many babies are injured by caregivers. What is most important to remember? Always leave your child with someone you trust.
As parents, you want to do the best for your baby. Knowing what to do before the baby's crying gets to you and getting help for those times when you feel you can't cope are two of the best things you can do for yourself and for your baby.
Warning: shaking can permanently disable or kill a child. Never shake a baby.
Plan ahead for regular babysitting relief from family, friends, neighbors, and others who you trust.
If you feel you can't cope much longer with your baby's crying, ask for help right away from someone you trust.
If you feel that you just can't cope much longer with your baby's crying and can't reach someone you trust for help, put your baby safely in bed and walk away for a while.
Make sure that your caregivers know what to do if they begin to feel unable to cope with your baby's crying.